How's it going here? Welcome back to another camera comparison video. Today I have the battle of the Ultras with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra up against the Note 20 Ultra. Now the Note 20 Ultra improved the large 108 megapixel sensor from the Galaxy S20 Ultra last year and made some significant improvements in image quality, and the S21 Ultra has pushed that even further this year. But by how much, and is there really a noticeable improvement between these two? We're going to find out, because if you're new to the channel, I like to show you as much photos and videos as possible in both good and low light conditions in these camera comparisons to help you decide which of these cameras are best for you. So go ahead and take a look at all the photos and videos, and at the end, leave a comment down below and let me know which one you thought did better, which one do you prefer, and which one would you use on a daily basis. So let's get to the photos and videos. Everyone, so we're out in the park testing the video on the Galaxy S21 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra, starting with the ultra wide angle lens on each. So you can see the difference in the field of view. The Note 20 Ultra has a slightly wider field of view than the S21. And I'll pan down so you can see what that looks like here, and pan back up. And I'll go ahead and switch into the main lens on each, so S21 and Note 20 Ultra there. So I'll move around here so you can see what these image quality looks like here on both of these main cameras. And I'll go ahead and pan over to the right and we'll test the zoom out here on that cell tower. So the S21 Ultra has 2 telephoto lenses. That's the 3x telephoto for 3x optical zoom there. The Note 20 Ultra has a 5x telephoto lens there, so you can see what that zoom looks like. And the S21 Ultra can go up to a 10x optical or using its telephoto lens there. And I can move all the way into a 20x digital on the Note, and also 20x digital here on the S21 Ultra. As you can see, the S21 Ultra is more shaky than the Note, and they're both on the same mount here. And if I kind of try to put my fingers and hand around the S21, it helps with the stabilization a bit, as you can see there. But it is very sensitive to shake, so if you're holding with your hand securely, you'll be fine. But as you can see on this mount, the Note 20 Ultra is a lot more stable here. So we'll zoom back out and we'll test autofocus on each. So first on the S21, really snappy autofocus. We've done it in several camera reviews at this point. Really nice focus and refocus here with that nice background blur on the S21. Now Note 20 Ultra, same quick autofocus here. Maybe a hair slower. And maybe that's that laser autofocus. But I think they both do have that. But either way, still quick and still nice background blur there on the Note 20 Ultra. So now let's test stabilization. We're walking down the stairs here and down this path. And they both should be doing very well here in 1080p as far as stabilization. But do let me know if you see any differences between these two cameras here as far as stabilization, video quality, colors, anything. Everyone, so we're back with the same video test, this time at 4K, 30 frames per second. Again, starting out with the ultra wide angle lens on each to give you a feel for what that looks like here in 4K between the two phones. And I can go ahead and move into the main camera on the S21 and here on the Note 20 Ultra. You can see what that looks like here in a bit of 4K. I'll pan down and then pan back up. And I'll move over here to the right again and test zoom here in 4K. So again, 3x telephoto zoom on the S21 and 5x telephoto zoom on the Note 20 Ultra. S21 Ultra, 10x telephoto zoom. And we'll max out the zoom here slowly up to 20x digital there on the Note. And same thing here on the S21. And again, I'll put my hand around the S21 Ultra a little bit here to help stabilize some more. But still, the Note looks more stable again on the same mount. So let's move it back out to the main lens. And we'll go ahead and test autofocus here on the post with the S21 first in 4K. Still really nice, really snappy with that great bokeh. And now with the Note 20 Ultra, also fairly quick, but just maybe a step behind, but consistent. And again with the nice bokeh. And let's test stabilization here in 4K. Again, walking down the stairs, down this path. And again, they both should be doing well as far as stabilization, even in 4K. So let's pan up into the sky and see how it does and what the exposure looks like here. Everyone, so here's some video from the front-facing cameras on the S21 Ultra and Note 20 Ultra. This is in 4K, 30 frames per second, and I'm in a bit of shade here outdoors, so you can see what the video quality looks like in more even lighting here. And as I pan around, you can see the changing lighting conditions. So as I move this way, the sun is more directly behind me. You can see what the image quality looks like here and what the exposure looks like on me and the background sky in that situation. And I'll keep panning around here so you can see what it looks like this way with more of the sunlight on me and what that background looks like here. And we'll go ahead and start walking to test stabilization. So you can see what that looks like here on each of these front-facing cameras. So there's just a quick video sample from the front cameras on the S21 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra. Everyone, so here's a low light video test between the S21 Ultra and Note 20 Ultra. I'm starting out with the ultra wide angle lens on each to give you a feel for how these ultra wide angle lenses compare, the field of view, and how much you can fit into the frame on each. And again, what's nice is you can switch between the lenses while recording. So let's go to the main lens on the S21 and the main lens on the Note 20. And I'll pan up into that bright light so you can see how it handles really bright lights. And they're both flaring that out quite a bit, and the S21 is doing it a little bit more. And pretty much any phone's going to do that, but these two are flaring that light out more than I've seen other phones, just as a note. And I'll go ahead and test the zoom out since they have telephoto lenses here. So let's go 3 times telephoto lens there on the S21 and 5 times telephoto on the Note. And we can go to 10 times telephoto on the S21. You can see how that compares to the 5 times telephoto on the Note 20 Ultra. And I'll back out to the main lens on each. And let's go ahead and test stabilization as we pan over this and start walking. And that was a fairly well lit area, so I like giving you a little bit of a feel for how they handle different lighting conditions. And so we're going to walk over to a much darker area here and see how it handles that. Also pay attention to any kind of jittering that you might see that tends to happen in low light. But as you can see, as we turn up to the corner here, it's much darker. And in the viewfinder, they're both really brightening up the scene a lot more. It's much darker than what you're seeing here. And that comes at the expense of some noise. So it just depends on what you like, if you want to be able to see what you're filming, or if you actually want it a little more true to life. And I'll pan up into that night sky, which is really dark right now. And you can see the moon up here. And let's go out and actually test out some zoom. So let's go to 5 times zoom there on the Note. And let's go to a 3 times, if I can tap it. There we go, on the S21. Let's go to 10 times. And let's go to digital zoom. So we'll go to 20 times digital zoom there on the Note. And let's go to 20 times there on the S21. And let's go ahead and back them out to 1 times. And of course they're both a bit noisy here because they're trying to brighten everything up. But let's go ahead and pan over here to the left where there's a little bit more light. And that's a really dark alley there. And again, they're both really brightening up that scene just to be able to show you what's there. So there's a test in 1080p on both phones. Heaven, so we're back with the same test, this time at 4K 30 frames per second. Again, starting out with the ultra wide angle lens on each as I pan over here to the right. And again, I'll switch over into the main lens. So let's go ahead and tap main lens there on the S21 and on the Note 20. And we'll pan around a bit to give you a feel for what this looks like here. Again, you can see what that looks like into that really bright light again. And we'll go ahead and pan over here this way and start walking to test stabilization again, this time in 4K. So again, we're going to go from a pretty well lit area over into this much darker area. And you can see what that looks like here in 4K. 4K should be looking darker than 1080p. That tends to be the case. But again, as it's getting darker here, both phones are really brightening this up to be much brighter than what I'm seeing with my own eyes. Although, at least in the viewfinder, the Note 20 is noticeably darker than the S21, especially compared to the 1080p footage. And I'll pull up here and point up to the night sky. You can see the moon again, maybe a couple stars. We don't get too many with a lot of the light pollution we got around here, but we'll go ahead and pan over here to the left so you can see what that looks like. And again, the Note 20 is still a little bit darker, at least in the viewfinder, than the S21. So there is a quick 4K video test here in some low light. So here's some video from the front-facing cameras on the S21 Ultra and Note 20 Ultra in a bit of a low light scenario. This is my usual area where I test For low light, it's a pretty well lit area here with a bunch of lights to give you a feel for what it looks like under these lighting conditions here. And I can actually go ahead and show you there, see all the street lights back there. You can see how these front facing cameras handle that. Not too much lens flaring actually from these front facing cameras, but let's go ahead and start walking to test stabilization and also to show you what the front facing cameras look like as they move over to a darker area. So a little bit of a different lighting situation with a lot less light, so give you a feel for what that looks like there compared to what you just saw. And I'll be walking past a fountain here, so that'll be some noise that should be competing with the sound of my voice. We'll see how the mics here on both phones handle that. And I'll pan around this way so you can see a bunch of really bright street lights behind me. And actually the front facing cameras seem to be handling that pretty well, not flaring them out too badly. And we'll go ahead and back over into the darker area again just to see how each of these cameras compare in this lighting situation. So there's a 1080p test, full HD on the S21 Ultra and Note 20 Ultra front facing cameras. Hey, so we're back with the same test from the front facing cameras, this time in 4K, 30 frames per second, to give you a feel for what that looks like here. Again, I'm starting out in some pretty well lit conditions to give you an idea for what it looks like under these lights. And I'll go ahead and pan around so you can see the really bright street lights up there behind me, as well as these lights here on the sides. The cameras seem to be handling that pretty well. And we'll go ahead and start walking, and to give a feel for not just the stabilization, but again, I'll walk over into this darker area. And 4K tends to be darker than 1080p, so pay attention to that. And hopefully this gives you an idea of what the stabilization looks like at 4K. And I'll also be passing by the water fountain again, so I can hear what that sounds like and how these microphones handle that sound against the sound of my voice. And we'll go and pull up here once again, pan around, and you'll see these really bright street lights again behind me. You can see how the front facing cameras are handling that in 4K, and actually pretty well, not flaring them out too badly here. So we'll go ahead and pan back around this way and move back into the darker area again to give you a comparison of what that looks like, and we'll wrap up the video as well. So hopefully you enjoyed all the photos and videos, and that helped you decide which of these two camera systems might be better for you. So let me know in the comments which one you like better. Maybe you liked one for photos, one for video, but do let me know what you thought, and let me know in the comments and why. And as always, thanks for watching.